welcome back to Podpackers, the podcast that dives into the real stories behind meaningful travel. I'm your host, Clarissa, and every week we bring you conversations with travelers who are changing their lives and the world through purpose-driven adventures. Today, I'm very excited to introduce you to Mekhiya, a 20-year-old solo traveler and content creator who's redefining what it means to step outside of your comfort zone. She's been exploring the world through volunteering, finding confidence, and turning her journey into inspiration for others who dream of doing the same. So let's start with a little bit of background. Mekhiya, you're only 20. What made you decide to travel solo instead of taking the normal path after high school?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much, Clarissa, for having me. I honestly went to school. I had went and did a graphic design program and felt very creative, and I thought maybe my path would be college next. But honestly, I've always had this what if mindset, and I felt that my hometown wasn't enough, and I knew that my life could change if I did something about it, and I knew that things could be better if I tried. So after high school, I decided to travel instead and travel as long as I could. And here we are.
Wait, where's your hometown?
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
No way. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So for all our listeners out there, Mekhiya and I are both from the Midwest, so right in the middle of the U.S.
Yes.
And I'm a graphic design major as well, so look at us.
So cool.
So how did your family and friends react when you said you weren't going to college? I mean, being from the Midwest, I feel like most people, pursue university or community college. It's not so common to just get out of there.
Yes. Honestly, I think I had a lot of hesitation. A lot of people were wondering, what am I doing? I think also in the States, things like gap years not really normalized. So if you decide to take time off to figure things out, people kind of look at you like, what are you even doing with your life? So I did have a lot of hesitation and a lot of confusion from a lot of people. But I think I realized once I changed my mindset, once I started talking to people more confidently about my plans and telling them yeah, actually I am going to travel and actually I am going to figure things out. And I think people start to automatically have a better perception about it because they were like, oh, she's so sure of herself. She's very confident and, she seems really happy. So I think people sometimes have no choice but to continue to support you.
Oh, that's amazing. I think, if you show confidence, then yeah, you're right. They have no choice but to do the same thing. Is there an exact moment when you realize yeah, I'm doing this?
I think it was when I booked my first volunteer experience and I was going to fly across the country to San Diego. And I was like, this is real. But honestly, it's very interesting because I think usually people are very scared and nervous to do it. But I weirdly had no fear in my heart. And that's how I knew it was the right decision. I was like, I have no hesitation about this. This is the right choice.
Yeah, for sure. And how did you first find Worldpackers?
It was actually a YouTube video. It was these two girls in 2023. I found them. It was a trip to Costa Rica, and they were doing a turtle conservation project. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could travel affordably, and this is possible, and it could be possible for me. So honestly, it changed everything once I saw that video.
That's awesome. And so tell us about your first volunteer experience in San Diego. What was it like for you? Had you traveled outside of Ohio before? Had you solo traveled before?
That was completely my first time solo traveling. I had traveled in a couple states before, but I just decided I found the volunteer experience and I decided to book it. And about three months before I left, and I packed all my bags, went across the country by myself. And honestly, it was the best experience ever. It's changed me so much. I grew up very introverted. So I think it really helped me learn how to speak to people, how to have conversations, connect with people, and realize how important connection is in your life. And honestly, it's changed me completely for the better. And I would do it again, 100%.
That's awesome. I guess you said your experience completely changed you. What specifically do you think made such a large impact? Was it your host, the location, other travelers, just being by yourself?
I would say more of the community. I think being able to be around people who were naturally interacting with people, and everybody was connecting from all over the world. That was my first time meeting people from out of the country, honestly.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was so beautiful to just see how quickly people would form connections and friendships. And now I have lifelong friendships from that same experience. So honestly, I think what changed me was just adapting to community and learning how to communicate every day with people and getting comfortable around people.
All right, so what did you think is one lesson that you've learned while traveling that school could have never taught you?
I would say honestly to trust myself and trust the process of everything. I think in solo travel you encounter so many different situations that you would never have experienced or a classroom could never prepare you for. And honestly, it's helped me figure things out and completely rely on myself and know that things will work out and to completely trust the process.
For sure. And do you think solo travel has made you feel more independent or more connected to others, one more than the other, both?
I think I would say both. It's really taught me to rely on myself, but also just to be connected with people and always make connections, and you always feel safer and more grounded, and honestly it makes beautiful stories and beautiful friendships. So I think in general solo travel has made me very connected to the world and myself.
And so you talk a lot about mindset. I guess, can you explain the burnt toast theory for people who might not know it? And how does that apply to your life?
Um, I would say the burnt toast theory is more so about trusting that delays or setbacks are protecting you from something else. Essentially, if something happens and you burn your toast and it prevents you, it makes you leave later in life, sometimes that delay can keep you safe. It's protecting you from something else. So I personally believe that everything happens for a reason, and that things big or small are something to learn from. And I feel like that is one thing that has really taught me how to express gratitude in my life.
That's awesome. So, like, if the toast is burned, then you don't want it, right? But it's probably better that your toast got burned.
Yeah, more so like let's say you're on the way to work, you're running late, and your clothes got stuck on the doorknob, and you're putting your toast in, and then it burned, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm late to work. And then I think usually you would be frustrated and angry, and then once you realize that maybe that 10 minutes late to work could have prevented you from being in the car crash that you saw on the highway. Like I think sometimes things can protect you from something else, and everything happens for a reason. Everything's placed for a reason, so you should trust your journey.
That makes a lot of sense. And so when things don't go as planned during your travels, how do you maintain a positive mindset?
I would say back to realizing that life is always happening for you. I feel like sometimes we feel that everything negative happens to you, especially maybe you're struggling with negative people and everything like that, but also realize that people are going through their own things, and sometimes the negativity that people show is just a reflection of their own struggles. And by realizing that, I try to take things not personally, and it helps me set boundaries as well, and also it helps me express empathy. And that's the ultimate way, I would say, to protecting your own peace.
I see. Not taking things personally.
Yeah.
So I want to move a little bit to the practical aspect of it. People are super curious how you manage to travel so young. How do you budget? How do you make it work financially?
Well, of course, the amazing Worldpackers has honestly changed my life. It helps by covering my accommodations, sometimes food, and also it's nice to get extra free things as well, activities and things like that. And that really helps me limit my expenses down to literally just my flights and personal spending. And also just budgeting carefully and making it sustainable, and really working on making sure that I'm sticking to a budget. And yeah, I honestly would completely recommend working and volunteering with Worldpackers.
That's awesome to hear. And so I guess like if your main expenses are flights and personal expenses, do you have also streams of income on the side? I'm just asking for our younger travelers who are trying to do the same thing as
Yeah,
you.
Of course. For a long time, I had been traveling just on my savings, which hopefully is inspiration to people that you can still do it. But recently, I have been accepted to the Community Hero program with Worldpackers. So thankfully, it's kind of provided a little bit of income for me, and hopefully, in my future, I can continue to find more opportunities to sustain my travels. But yeah, right now, I'm really excited to be working with Worldpackers.
That's so awesome. We're excited to have you. And so for someone who's listening who's maybe 18 or 19 and they really want to go solo traveling, but they just don't know where to start, what is the first step you would tell them to take, or even just like a piece of advice?
I would say honestly to start small. Obviously, here Worldpackers, like join something like Worldpackers. It's also so beneficial and it changes everything, especially at a young age. It really opens you up meeting new people. And honestly, my biggest advice would just to be to take the first step because the perfect moment literally does not exist. Like, even if it's messy, even if things are complicated at first, like, I think you just need to take that step and everything else will follow, everything else will open up.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you say that because the interview that we did before this was with
Mhm.
Toro's Adventures, another creator, and she was saying how like, oh, there's never a perfect time. You just have to go now, like when you feel that urge.
Yeah, now is the time.
um, and so what's the biggest misconception that you think people have about solo travel?
um I would say probably that it's lonely or that it's unsafe. I think loneliness, I have never felt lonely at all because you just meet so many wonderful people. And even if you're not physically there with the friends that you've made, like you still keep in contact for years and it's just amazing. But also, a lot of people have a misconception, especially about media that we tend to see growing up, especially in places like the States. You know, maybe your friends and family, people often say that it's unsafe or it's scary, but once you do it, you'll realize there are so many things that will help you grow as a person. And even, like I said, with mindset, everything that you go through, good or bad, it's happening for your growth. So I don't think that any delay or any rejection is a negative impact. Honestly, it might more so be a redirection for your life.
Mhm.
And yeah, I feel like those are kind of big misconceptions that people have. And honestly, I hope that hearing these words can inspire people to take that step and trust in yourself.
I think that's so beautiful. What a great note to end on. So, Mekhiya, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think you're living proof that being young and uncertain can actually be your biggest strength. And to everyone who's listening, if you've been waiting for a sign to take that first step, like she said, there is no sign. The sign is now. So, this is it. So, go explore, trust the unknown, and maybe even volunteer your way around the world like Mekhiya did. You can follow her journey on social media. You can also find volunteer opportunities at Worldpackers. I'm Clarissa. This was Podpackers, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.